I'm going to talk about the Aryans again. And for those of you who haven't heard from Russia with love, no, it's not the Nazis. Nothing to do with Nazis at all. I was reading up on a few things, and it's funny how they distort knowledge and history. But the description of Aryan, relating to or denoting a people speaking an Indo-European language, which is rubbish on both accounts. It's the Rus language. Nothing to do with India or European. And it says they invaded northern India in the 2nd millennium BC, which is correct, but they didn't invade, and displacing the Dravidian and other Aboriginal peoples. No, they didn't displace either. Yet again, they rewrite history. They were teaching them to stop ritual sacrifice and worshipping the Kali Ma, which is the dark forces. In another description, it says Aryan is a term that was used as a self-designation by Indo-Iranian people. Again, nothing to do with India, but Iranian people, yes, because the word was used by the Indic people, which is actually Rus people, of the Vedic period, which is also to do with the Rus and nothing to do with India, as an ethnic label for themselves and to refer to the noble class as well as the geographic region known as Aryavata. And this is where the Indo-Aryan culture was based. Now, for those of you who remember from the two shows of it, the Aryans came from eastern Russia and also northern Russia across the Himalayas and were teachers. They were way advanced, a lot more spiritual based than what we are, and they tried to help the black race and also the yellow race into ceasing ritual sacrifice to the gods, and the Kali Ma in particular, using voodoo. The closely related Iranian people also used the term as an ethnic label for themselves in the Avesta scriptures, and the word forms the etymological source of the country name, Iran. Iran means land of the Aryans. That's why some Iranian people have blue eyes. Again, in the spelling of it, the English word Aryan, A-R-Y-A-N, was originally spelled Aryan, A-R-I-A-N, not Y, is wrong, as they are describing it. And they are saying it was borrowed from the Sanskrit word Arya. The Sanskrit was also the Rus, the Vedic text, the Sanskrit language, all came from the Rus, the Aryan race. That's why it's called Arya, like the old continent that slipped into the sea when the moon landed on the planet 110,000 years ago. That continent was called Arya, same name. Now in the Aryavata Chronicles, a review is made where it states the following: the chronicles, or the epic tales they are based on, are much more than a tale of feuding brothers. So that's playing out the Enki Endel story again, or Cain and Abel. There's a whole plethora of them. But it's actually a story of how existing power structures were questioned, even torn down, as the notion of sovereign accountability began to take hold. That is what the Rus and the Urs were all about 5,000 years ago, as far back as 110,000 and beyond. Sovereign accountability, is that not what we've been talking about in this show? You don't need laws if everyone is sovereign and is accountable for their own actions and personally responsible. You only need laws if people don't act in personal responsibility. Well, hidden in that rather precious phrase, sovereign accountability, are many subtle political implications. The first of them being the idea that even a divinely appointed sovereign is subject to a delicate balance of power, duties and limitations. So in other words, it doesn't matter who you are. You could be Jesus and be appointed the sovereign to rule over the people, but you are accountable for your own actions. Now from this arises the corollary premise that such a sovereign may indeed fail at meeting those duties given his or her limitations, comes the notion of inefficiency or even incompetence. And that brings us to the third premise, an actionable one. What if the sovereign was indeed an inefficient or incompetent ruler, as it were? The answer was, it was time to get a better ruler in his or her place. And that's what they did. This is kind of what, in the background of what THI is all about. I know people in other alt media. Personal responsibility applies accountability at all times. We have had rulers like kings and queens for so long that is passed down onto the same family lines, half of which are incest-based, let's be honest. And yet we expect them to lead us. We were badly wrong to allow that at all. Good leaders set good examples of operating in the best of humanity, not create wars for their own ends. And it's something the Ers and the Rus and the Aryan peoples could teach us. We don't have to continue operating their way with domineering, goose-stepping leaders telling us what we can and can't do. But like the old tribal peoples and the Ers, their leaders set an example. They taught the youth to be better than them, which always progresses. Not stifle them. You stifle anything, it has a kickback. It might be one generation, it might be the second generation, but eventually the whole lot collapses. And that's what's happened to us. We have allowed the wrong people with ego, be it consumeristic background, be it militaristic background, to dictate life in their own image. But it's not our image, is it? And that's why I think we need not a new government, a new American government. We need a new assembly of the people, by the people. That if you're not efficient or incompetent, you just get replaced by somebody else. Not pass it on to your son or daughter, and it goes on like the bloody British royals, who are complete usurpers anyway. Time for a new way, but a new way comes with ultimate responsibility. Sovereign accountability. I like that term.